Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Craft Beer Nation's Friday Night Hangout. Tonight, we are talking about breakfast beers. So, I'm guessing that in some way, this could essentially be a drinker's choice for anyone because it's all about what beer are you drinking for breakfast, or what beer do you think is appropriate for breakfast. This is episode 172. So before we get into that, we want to remind you that you can go to Stitcher or podcasts or any venue you use to watch podcasts and check out our show Pints and Quarts. Last night we had Steve and Heidi Crandall on from Devil's Backbone over here in Virginia. It was a really fun interview. They're passionate about beer. They're doing some great things. So I definitely encourage you to go and watch that episode. And if you have questions or comments that you would like for us to relay to them, post them on the website craftbeernation.org, or you can do it on our Google Plus page or Facebook Craft Beer Nation, or Instagram at craftbeer_nation, or Twitter at CBN Community. And while you're posting your questions there, follow us. You're already there. It's just an extra click. Do it. We love new followers. We'll follow you back.
Do it.
In most cases.
In the dark.
So, again, like I said, Friday Night Hangout episode number 172, Breakfast Beers. Starting from, I guess I'll go from my left to right.
First, because I was method tonight. Can I go first?
Sure. I'm gonna start from my left to right, but then we're gonna start. I'm gonna introduce the panel from left to right, but we're gonna start talking about our beer with Lola. Charles Dunkley, don't know where he went. Must be having some technical difficulties. He would have been all the way on my left. Then we have Gil Mello. Gil, how are you tonight?
I'm doing awesome. Ready to drink.
Cool beans. Doug Nolan was there just now and just dropped Ninja Smoke, and I'm assuming he'll be right back.
We're sabotaging you tonight.
Yeah. Linda Dean, how are you doing tonight, sweetheart? And you're muted. There you go.
We're groggy.
Stop muting me!
You were muting yourself.
See, that's what happens when we get here too early and start drinking beforehand. You know?
Yeah.
Yes. It's too early in the morning or too late in the morning or something.
Something.
And
we also have Lola Laracy. Lola, how are you doing tonight on this fine evening?
I'm groggy.
Okay, and you're drinking beer, so that's a perfect recipe. So, let's go ahead and start with your beer. What are you drinking, Lola?
Well, let's start with what I was drinking. Because I opened a beer and drank about half of it, and then I got sleepy and I went to sleep. So for breakfast beers, this is perfect. I'm going to continue drinking what I had been drinking. So this is what I had been drinking. Entwined Ale from Boulevard. It was pretty nice. It wasn't what I expected. When I saw grape juice on the front, I guess I thought it was going to be purple grapes, red grapes, and I thought it'd be like malty, but it wasn't. It was really clear.
So it's probably like white wine grapes.
Yeah, and it's not really what I was in the mood for, so I got sleepy and went to sleep. But it's okay. I mean, it's not going to cause anyone any problems. No one's going to get super drunk off of it or anything.
Get it?
Huh?
Entwined ale? Wine, grape juice?
Yeah, entwined, so it has white grapes entwined in it. It's alright. It reminds me too much of white wine, and I don't like white wine.
what, like sweet white wine or dry white wine?
Dry and fruity and just a little bit too crisp. Not really what I wanted, you know.
So entirely unlike Smurf Berry Crunch.
Entirely unlike Smurf Berry Crunch, and that would have been awesome. Give me a beer made of Smurf Berry Crunch, and I'm there, and that would be perfect. So, but anyways, I already had something planned for tonight, so let me just take a sip of this, see if it's still good.
If it's been open since your nap, then
Yeah.
probably not.
Sorry, Boulevard. I kind of, I dozed out on your beer. I love you anyways. So, but this is what I planned. This is one of my favorite beers, and it better be one of my favorites because I spent freaking $14 on
Oh,
it.
if it said black and blue. Oh, Chateau J. Howe.
14 on the bottle?
Yes.
It's a 750, Linda.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's a normal price for that beer.
Yeah. And I really like it. I forgot to bring my stopper over here. I need to have my stopper. I don't know the name of it. I just call it the one with the lady on it.
Chateau J. Howe or something like that. J. Howe.
Chateau Gihao.
How?
Gil always knows how to say it.
No, I just pretend I do. All you need to do is talk with confidence.
I was thinking to myself, you think Gil always knows how to say it?
I don't know any difference. I just nod and go, okay. I
just remember Sam like pronouncing it different than Ji Hao, like, and like
No,
it's,
he says Gihao, right? I think that's why.
I thought I remember him stressing the U in it, but I could be wrong. I've been drinking.
Anyway, so here I go. I'm pouring it.
Look at Lola keeping it proper with the glassware. Psych.
Well, that's another thing. I don't know if this is really proper.
It's not.
It's not.
Don't fill the mug with it. Just there you go.
But I thought it was appropriate because this is my mug from the pub crawl. So it's the morning after I survived the pub crawl. I told you I'm method. This is the morning after the pub crawl, and this I'm calling this a breakfast beer because it has honey and hawthorn fruit and fermented grape juice. So this is, I know I love this beer. So this is like a more palatable version to me.
What's the ABV on that?
Oh God, probably a lot. It is Dogfish Head after all.
It's probably right where either your thumb is or your other fingers are.
Oh freaking hell.
Nah, it's not important.
Yeah, we'll get back to that. I don't see it.
So, how do you like it?
Oh, it's
Taste. Or nose and then taste.
Taste. Oh my goodness. It's got a punch to it. It's not tepid like some of those other fruit beers. It almost tastes like they put a little bit of wild bacteria in there or something. I know they didn't, but it just kind of tastes that way because it's got like a tangy punch. And smell, I smell kind of the tanginess, kind of the what smells like yeastiness or something. I don't really get a whole lot on the smell, but it's a taste. It's just really tangy, and whatever fruit a hawthorn fruit is, it's got it going on.
Cool beans.
This is the way it looks.
Nice. That sounds beautiful.
Yeah, so it was worth waking up for.
All right, so I'm gonna jump all the way back to my left and go with Charles. Charles, what beer are you partaking in tonight?
Hey, Randy.
How are you, buddy?
Doing pretty good. Hoping my cable modem stopped rebooting repeatedly on me so I can stay on here.
Please do stop rebooting cable modem.
I am drinking the McKellar Beer Hop Breakfast.
I never even heard of that one. I heard of Beer Geek Breakfast.
Yeah, this is a Black India Pale Ale brewed with coffee.
Nice.
Oh.
And
that's confusing to this palate.
It is dark. Look at that.
Dark. Dark. And a thick head.
Yeah.
That looks nice.
And you do get coffee. Wow.
Stone the Crows?
He's paralyzed.
This would be a Simon Martin Stone the Crows moment for sure. This is pretty amazing. And it's everything I love in a black IPA. You know, you still have the hoppy bitterness, but you get the darker roasted malts. And so you have all of that, and then you get this big, just a perfect balance, but a big, bold coffee, but really, really well balanced. And they go surprisingly well together. I don't think I've ever had a coffee IPA. I think Stone might have made one at one point, but
Dayman.
yeah, I didn't get a chance to have that. So, but this is pretty spectacular.
That's the oatmeal. That's the oatmeal one you have, right? Is that what it is?
No.
That beer?
No, it's
it's a black IPA brewed with coffee, and it's pretty cool. I like on the bottle the label. They've got a hop being randled.
In the French press.
Yeah, they have it at all their breakfasts. Have that,
which is pretty cool. I think this is my first McKellar beer that I'm having. So this is
really?
the other twin, I guess. The non-evil twin, is that who he is?
Yeah.
Or maybe.
I guess it depends on which. If you ask the other twin, he'll say he's the evil twin.
I know, exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe they're
They've
both
got pretty cool labels. You know, I don't know if it's going to get in focus.
There you go.
Oh, not
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah, this new lighting I have actually helps my camera focus much better now and the labels close up.
very
Perfect.
bright.
So
But this is very impressive.
Charles, would you have to be a fan of black IPAs to enjoy that beer, though? I mean, I know.
No,
I
I
know
don't
you.
think so.
Okay, so would you
No.
say it's drinking more like a hoppy stout now at this point? Since
Yeah, you could say that. I mean, you could almost flip it like that and say it's a hop infused coffee stout.
okay,
It's got that thick mouthfeel you expect from a big stout.
mm-hmm.
Plus, you still have all your hops in there. So this is really, really impressive. Really well done. I'm definitely gonna start picking up more McKellar beers. They're like Evil Twin. They're very expensive, but this one is worth every penny.
Yeah. They have the Geek Breakfast is the one that is the oatmeal stout, and the one I have is their Rouch version of that oatmeal stout, and they have a whole series on it. And the Geek Breakfast is really good too.
Yeah, that's the one they have also with what is it? Shit. The civet, the coffee that was the civet, which is
It was processed through organic ways.
Yeah. The civet, which is a weasel, and I think it's in Vietnam, eats the coffee beans. Can't digest the beans, but the enzymes in its stomach ends up extracting a lot of tannins out of the coffee beans. The civet poops the coffee beans out. People go and they forage and they gather these coffee beans, and it's allegedly, well, it is the most expensive cup of coffee in the world, but since the tannins have all been extracted from the beans, it's incredibly smooth, and they put that in one of their Beer Geek breakfasts. I think it's called the Beer Geek Breakfast.
The Beer Breakfast. No,
Yeah.
they have the Beer Geek. That's the one that's just called the Beer Geek Breakfast, and then they had variations off of that one. Yeah.
And which also happens to be a name that's kind of sort of shared with. Well, McKellar is also opening up a facility here in the U.S. if it's not already open, and they're going to the old AleWorks facility, and AleSmith facility, and AleSmith is going to their newer, bigger facility, and the first beer that McKellar brewed at their new / AleSmith's old spot was called Beer Geek Speedway. So that was their attempt to kind of dial in the system and get it to where it needed to be. So yeah, that's one that we'll probably never get here, especially here on the East Coast. But Beer Geek Breakfast was a phenomenal beer. Just don't think about weasel doo-doo when you're drinking it, and you'll be primo. Just
Sounds like my 20s.
Gil, what are you drinking tonight, man?
I have the McKellar too, but I'm starting with since I'm in Lancaster County, I have to drink for breakfast. You need to eat shoe fly pie. I don't know if you guys know what shoe fly pie is. It's basically a molasses pie. It's like a ton of sugar that they bake it. They cook it until it gets thick. So it's basically molasses in it. And one of the old Amish, Amish farms, they would do the shoe fly pie and put it on the window, and so the flies would come around, and they have to kind of whack the.
They'd be like shoe flies.
Yeah.
So they essentially couldn't figure out what to do with all the sugar, so they decided to put it in a pie.
In a pie, yeah. So it's basically a molasses pie. It's a crust full of molasses inside. That's what shoofly pie is, with a little bit of vanilla.
Wow, that's
so. Yeah, it's actually good. I thought it was weird the first time I heard about it, but it's a big thing. If people travel, people come everywhere, and they take like tons of shoofly pie back home.
So how does that change?
How does that?
But back to the beer. So this is the Lancaster Brewing shoofly pie. It's a porter. It's about 6.2% by volume. It's very low IBUs, like only 25 IBUs for this particular beers. And what they did a porter, and they brewed with molasses and a little bit of vanilla. So, I mean, it's not like a shoofly pie per se, because I don't think anybody would drink a beer that would be that sweet. The beer looks very pretty. It's very dark. Depending on the light, it gets to like a dark brown to a black, almost like a black tone beer. It's pretty.
You're drinking out of
my saver
glass.
My saver glass, yeah.
Oh, I know, because we put color tape around our glasses, so we
never took it off. Yeah. You get a little bit of the vanilla, you get a little bit of the molasses. That's it that you get off on the aromas. You don't get a lot of very big aromas. Very, very kind of just hints of aroma there. It's kind of a medium body, which is it's okay for a porter. Porter is normally light to medium body. There's some coffee coming through more. I mean, I'm getting the molasses in the back, but I think because they roast the malt for this, I would imagine a little longer. They don't say anything here, but I get a little bit. I get chocolate and coffee mixed to it, so I think that it's actually pretty good. I was hoping that didn't taste quite shoofly pie. Just remind me of shoofly pie, and that's what I'm getting here. I'm getting hints of vanilla. I'm getting the molasses right now. I'm getting the brown sugar, the molasses you get right in the end when you finish drinking, and then you get it like in your throat there by getting coffee and hints of chocolate. It's actually pretty good. I wish maybe there was a little less vanilla, but again, they're going with the theme. So for the name, for the shoofly pie, for the emulating the pie, and I think they did a good job here without making it overly sweet, which I was afraid of. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's an amazing beer, but it's a beer that I would probably drink often.
For you to get chocolate and chocolate undertones, that seems appropriate. I mean, after all, it is the base beer is a porter, so you probably got a little bit of, black malt, maybe a little bit of black malt, a little bit of chocolate malt. So
yeah, let's see here. They say it's made with 8 different malts and grains. It's not a big bill, but it's not smaller either.
Well, chocolate/coffee, should I say?
Yeah. So yeah, it's good. I think it was cool. I think it was nice for them. Lancaster Brewing, Lancaster and shoofly pie go together. I think they did a good job. Again, as I said before, with getting a little bit of what remind you that molasses taste without making sweet like a shoofly pie. So I think it's probably one of the better beers that I had from them. On the more stout and porter style, so I kind of like it. Yeah, it's a pretty good beer.
Cool beans.
I think aging a little bit would do to mellow out some of those things. So I wish I had picked another bottle, and I might do that. Yeah.
Well, you definitely lose some of that vanilla over time, right?
Yeah, that's my hope. That's why I might just sit one for a little bit.
Okay. Linda Dean.
Good morning.
Good morning. I know, right?
Hold
on, Linda. Before you start, we want to thank you for the trailer that you did for tonight's Friday night hangout.
You're welcome. It was hilarious. It was so funny to make. It was great.
If you haven't seen it yet, go visit our Google Plus page, or I'm sure it should be on the website, craftbeernation.beer, and you can see Linda's trailer for tonight's show. She did a fantastic job. It was great.
Hiked all over Corvallis in my jammies.
So thank you, Linda.
Well, I chose my first one. I chose this was one that I actually drink pretty frequently from Flattail. It's Flattail 6 a.m. Stout, and it's definitely meant to be a breakfast beer. They decided instead of making the coffee bold, they were going to actually use. They decided to use cold pressed coffee, which I think was a really good choice because they also added a lot of lactose to make it pretty mellow. So there aren't a whole lot of bitter notes in the stout. It's pretty dark, and it does pour with a thick head, but the head goes away.
What's the ABV on it?
6% even.
Okay. I'm guessing you're probably getting tons of coffee throughout that beer, aren't you?
You know, I don't get as much in the aroma, but this is one of the very, very few beers that I can drink and taste cold coffee, and I really enjoy it. I think it's because it doesn't have the bitterness of regular coffee in it. It has lots and lots of cold coffee flavor, but it's smooth. I think it could probably be a little thicker as a stout. It could probably have a little bit more body, a little bit more body to it, and I'd be happy.
But you know what, Linda? It's interesting that you say that because you said that they put lactose in it, and lactose is not a fermentable sugar, so it usually lends a little bit of residual sweetness and a lot of body to the beer. So it must have been a pretty thin beer to begin with.
Yeah, it must have actually started out as a fairly thin beer. But I'm really picky about the body in stouts. Mm-hmm. If I'm drinking a stout, I want to chew on it. You know, I want to be able to put a spoon in it.
And have that spoon stand up.
But that depends a little bit what kind of stout you're drinking to, right? Not every style calls for to be very thick. It depends what you. Mm-hmm. But I see you lean more. You lean towards the more the oatmeals and stuff like that. I can understand what you're saying. Yeah.
But this is a perfectly good beer, and this is probably one of the best flat tail dark beers that I've ever had. The only one better than this that I've had is their El Guapo Mole, which is a chili beer. It's not a stout. It's dark, but it's not a stout.
Okay.
That Willie Becker you're holding there, that glass looks like a 16 ounces glass.
It's a Fort George glass, actually.
It's actually a 8-ounce glass. Linda has super tiny hands.
Yeah.
She shrunk herself.
This one is this one's for Block 15.
That holds 32 ounces.
I still have tiny hands. Yeah. This holds 12, I think.
Not 32, but 2. That's one of those taster samplers that they at the breweries. All right, so Linda, that's it. That's one. I know you said you want a little body in a stout, but would you pick that up again?
Oh yes, I have. This was actually Dave's personal bottle because they came close to running out, so he brought it in. And when I went in to do the recording for the video, he actually gave me his bottle. So thanks, guys.
Cheers to Flattail getting all that free pub for all 3 people who are gonna watch this video.
So you're doing a trailer every week at our pub now. Is that what you're saying?
They're really accommodating. Really
awesome.
Accommodating.
Well, I guess I'll talk about my beer. I'm going local tonight, and I'm drinking Hardywood Park's Sidamo Coffee Stout.
Nice.
Yeah.
And this real thing, I didn't notice until just now, but if you look at that coffee cup on the label and look inside the coffee cup, that's actually that's
the O.
Yeah, and no, right there.
Oh, okay.
That's the tree that's on all of Hardywood's labels.
It's like one of those coffee, the gourmet coffee that the guy plays with the, with the foam and make the.
So this beer is part of Hardywood's Reserve Series, and I think the story behind the Reserve Series is these are all beers that have local ingredients in it, and this beer is brewed from it's the Russian Imperial Stout brewed with locally roasted coffee, and it came from a roasting company in Richmond called Lamplighter Roasting Company. And Sidamo is a coffee bean from Ethiopia, so obviously they put this Ethiopian coffee in this beer. I'm not sure if they actually put. I don't think that they put cold pressed coffee in this beer. If I had to guess, I would say that they brewed this stout and they conditioned it on Sidamo coffee beans, is because I think that's more along the lines of how Hardywood tends to go about their business. It's 9.3%, only 55 IBUs, comes out late winter. Next release will be 1/2/16. This beer, and so obviously I've had this beer since late winter, but they say coffee tends to be one of the flavors that fades out kind of quickly. Not in this beer. Hold on a second, let me swirl it and release a little bit of the aroma there, mate. Cheers, hold on. I still get the coffee on the nose is still very prevalent in this beer. And it being a Russian Imperial Stout, Linda, I think this beer has all the body that you are looking for in a stout. This beer has a beautiful body. The coffee on the nose is prevalent. The coffee on the palate is absolutely still there. When I first poured this beer, it was right out of the refrigerator, and as it warms up, it absolutely gets better. Aside from it being 9.3%, this is a beer you could easily drink in the morning. If you didn't have to go to work, of course. It's easily be a beer that you can drink. I mean, you could put it in a coffee mug and nobody would know the difference. Even if they came to smell it, they'd be like, "Why are you drinking cold coffee?" Right? So.
Well, depending on the kind of meeting you're gonna have, maybe you want to drink before work too. Right?
I know, right? Absolutely.
If you're a writer or publisher, it'd probably be a good choice. Good choice.
Yeah. You just set up for the day.
And I'll tell you this: I've never had Sidamo coffee before, and if this beer is any indication of Sidamo coffee, that coffee is probably going to be super duper smooth. I have had Ethiopian coffee before, but just not specifically Sidamo coffee. Ethiopian coffee is really good.
So you can tell the differences between coffee types?
I can tell the difference between coffee types only if I drink the coffee black.
Okay. I'm not that good.
Yeah, if you put sugar in it and you put creamers and all that stuff in it, it all just tastes like sugared and creamed coffee. But if you drink coffee black, you can tell the difference between like Ethiopian coffee and Kenyan coffee and Mexican coffee and Colombian. You can absolutely tell the difference between the different types of coffee. Some of them lend a much more tannic quality. Some of them lend they present a lot more fruit, like a fruitiness going on with it. Some of them are crazily floral on the nose and on the palate. So yeah, if you drink, and I prefer my coffee black because the first time I had my coffee black was at this coffee shop in DC where they were hand pouring the coffee, and I tasted it black, and that was the first time I'd ever been able to taste something other than coffee. When I drank the coffee, I was actually able to I was like, wow, this is really fruity, right? So if you haven't had black coffee yet, try it. Not Folgers, not Taster's Choice. Like, for real, go to a legitimate coffee shop and try some coffee hand poured and drink it black, and you'll be amazed at how the flavor profiles on coffees are identifiable. And
have you tried coffee on nitro? It's a big thing now. I've been to a couple coffee shops that they have a kegerator with coffee inside. The only thing it's cold. I mean,
well, I like cold pressed coffee, so
Yeah, so
Yeah,
it's
see, cold pressed coffee is actually pretty good. It changes that whole bitter. I think the tannins are
yeah.
probably
So
what I don't like.
I've been to a place in Texas and a place trying to remember if it was in Kentucky, and they have this kegerator, and I'm asking, what's that? Because I'm seeing a kegerator inside of a coffee shop. It says, oh yeah, we're doing a coffee on nitro now. It was.
Wow.
I mean, it's very. I mean, the taste is like you need to like coffee. It's not for the faint of heart. But man, you get all the nuances that the coffee will offer you. So.
And I just want to say this real quick about coffee because I brewed a Gil has had my Imperial milk stout that had bourbon soaked oat cubes and cocoa nibs and cold pressed coffee in it. When you get iced coffee, that's not just regular coffee that they brew and pour it over ice. That should be cold pressed coffee. Cold pressed coffee is made totally differently, total different process. So usually they get coffee and they get like room temperature water, put the coffee in the water, stir it up, and put it in the refrigerator for 12 to 24 hours, and then they strain the coffee off of it, and voila, you got cold pressed coffee. I brewed a 5-gallon batch, put in 16 ounces of cold pressed coffee, and you could smell and taste that coffee all throughout that beer. So
yeah, because we have to remember that peaks of temperature will affect flavors as well. So when you have hot coffee, that's going to affect the real flavors that coffee can offer you. So I love your shirt, by the way.
Thank you. My stop racism shirt.
I thought that's so clever.
So yeah, that's my beer. Beautiful coffee nose, coffee aroma. The coffee taste is definitely there throughout the drink, and it finishes like you just drank some coffee. So Hardywood, I think, in my opinion, I sent a bottle of this beer to Chris Clement over in Texas, and he was like, this is hands down the best coffee stout I've ever had. And I mean, this isn't barrel aged or anything. This is just straight up their coffee stout, and it's amazing.
I have their bourbon one. I have their bourbon Sidamo.
This beer is legit. Cheers, Hardywood. Y'all slap this one. Y'all Bryce Harper this one out of the park. So
that sounds amazing.
Is anybody going on to beer numero dos?
Well, I've got it ready, but
people, that's not a crowler. That is a 16-ounce can in Linda's hand. It's not a crowler.
Uncommon Brewers Bacon Brown Ale. Because what goes better with coffee than bacon?
Yeah. Bacon.
I picked it up.
Hold on. Let me get my camera ready. Let me get my camera ready for when you take that first sip.
I picked it up so it had bacon in the name. It's.
I like beer with bacon flavor.
I like anything with bacon.
Bacon does not belong in. Bacon makes everything better, but bacon does not belong in beer.
Mikhail,
my head goes away almost immediately.
You get that, what is that, smoked beer that I don't even know how to pronounce it.
Rausch beer?
Oh,
yeah,
Schlingela.
Yeah, that is amazing. It's like almost like a pork stew or something, that beer. It's pretty incredible.
And Mikkeller has the Geek Breakfast. There's a bacon version of it too that is phenomenal.
And now I want bacon, people. Thanks.
I'm getting sugar off this, but not bacon. I don't smell bacon. I can smell what I think might be molasses, but it smells really sweet.
They might have just done the molasses. You know how sometimes you put molasses on bacon and like brown sugar.
Yeah. Kind of candy it a little bit.
Yeah, candy bacon. They just forgot the bacon.
I can taste the smokiness of bacon. This is definitely not the Rogue Bacon Maple Ale.
Thank goodness.
Definitely. It is not.
That's probably good.
It's reminiscent of bacon, but I'm not going to chew on the lip of the glass. It's a really nice brown ale. I mean,
well, if you're gonna make a flavored beer, you better have a good base beer. So
the brown ale. Even if I didn't taste the bacon at all, it's definitely a nice brown ale, and it's organic. 6.8%. I cannot read the can. I'm sorry, Uncommon Brewers, but come on. I mean, light brown on an aluminum can. I can't read this.
They're killing you, Linda.
This is a West Coast nut brown ale brewed with something.
A
Buckwheat.
West Coast nut brown ale. If that ain't a made-up style.
Well, it's nutty. It's nutty. It smells sweet.
It's just like you then, Linda.
Aww. It's a really nice nutty brown ale with with some hints of smoky meat, not bacon.
Meat.
I think the bacon is way too understated, but it's a very nice brown ale.
Some smoked ham hocks in there. Ham hocks?
I would use this for cooking.
Okay.
I
And
would
what,
use this for
some kind of stew, like a pork stew or a beef, pork stew maybe?
beans. I would do classic Western beans.
Okay.
Classic Western pork and beans, kidneys, and nice.
But keep that in mind next time you make some beans. Gil?
Okay, let's see if you guys can guess.
That wouldn't be Santa Fe Java Stout, would it? Gil, I'm gonna tell you. You know my wife isn't a big beer fan, right?
Mm-hmm.
She was in Santa Fe and she had that beer and she really liked it.
I'll tell you what. If you're a coffee lover like me, this is the perfect beer when you want a coffee and a beer. I think Santa Fe does a lot of good beers, a lot of beers that I love from them, but this is one beer that every time I go is like, okay, I could choose all that or that. It's always the bit in between the Java Stout or all the rest, right, that they have it. This beer is like, the nose is incredible. I mean, if you would have a mug and somebody put it on your nose, you would be inclined to say, oh, it's coffee. You're trying to give me coffee, right? If you wouldn't look at the beer, because the aroma is, there's nothing else. There's no break, there's no nothing there.
The first time I had it, Gil, they jammed coffee into that beer, man.
That's it. Nose, coffee. You get nothing else because there's so much coffee. And the taste, I mean, this thing is black as black can be. It's beautiful.
Oh, I never showed my beer, did I? There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Everybody's drinking dark beers today.
How has nobody had a Founder's Breakfast Stout all this show yet?
Because I don't have them. I would have rows and rows of Founder's Breakfast Stout in my kitchen.
I didn't pick up because I thought it was too obvious, but
yeah, me too.
It was like, somebody's gonna have that. But this is an amazing job by Santa Fe. This beer it's like almost like drinking cold brew coffee.
Nice.
That has a little, there's there's that beer and a little bit of hop, but the bills are nice. The grains are very nice. But again, the coffee is so overpowered that normally I would say, man, they just dump coffee in here. But it somehow works. Somehow they made it.
It's breakfasty.
It is breakfasty. I think the first time we interviewed them, I actually had this beer on a coffee mug while we were talking with them because I was so impressed. Yeah. So if you have a chance, unfortunately we don't get Java Stout, or we don't get Santa Fe at all at the East Coast, but they're doing an excellent job, and this beer is from the can is now simple and beautiful. You get
that makes me think they should be selling those side by side, with all the other little canned coffee drinks.
Yeah, that would go. The can is almost designed, maybe that's done on purpose to look like one of those breakfast drinks, the stuff. But yeah, if you like coffee, it's so much coffee that it's good. I would complain. I complain a lot of beers that I drink sometimes the coffee is kind of too much for me, but because there's so much happening there, and this is the opposite. This is like drinking coffee with beer and not a beer with coffee. I don't know. I could rave about this beer the whole night. Everybody knows how much I love. I think this is an excellent beer, well made. Great job for kudos to the guys from Santa Fe.
What's
probably one of the best coffee beers. It's I think on the market, on the style, and without too much into it. It's just excellent.
Hey Gil, what's the ABV on it?
That's a good question. See, I tend to not, unless I'm doing the show, I tend not to pay much attention to this, so I don't have to. No, but they don't put it in the can. The can is very minimalistic, but I can always Google it.
And speaking of Santa Fe, we want to give a shout out to our buddy Max Otwell. He's going to be open. He used to work for Santa Fe, but he's now opening up his own brewery, right, Gil?
Who are you saying? Max?
Yeah, Max.
Yeah, he's not open the brewery. As the other guy,
it's not Max?
One of the brothers, he's gonna work now. He's gonna work with them. He's
okay,
kind of freelancing right now.
Okay.
And so he's working with Bose Brewing.
Bozeman Brothers or something like that.
Yeah, I think one of the brothers worked for Santa Fe as well.
Either way, cheers to them. Another great craft brewery in the works.
That we probably won't have access to.
Yeah, unless you move to Santa Fe.
Yeah. So Java Stout is 8%.
Okay.
That's not. You know what? That's nice. That'd be really easy for me to pick up in the morning, have a glass, and be able to start writing.
Linda's like 8%, perfect sessionable beer.
Well, the story.
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't need a session, but I need something to, that's obviously the coffee, but that's drinkable, because I really do avoid beers that say, coffee stout, because I'm so afraid I'm going to drink it, and what I'm going to get is a mouthful of, and I've been trying not to say it, a mouthful of Starbucks, and I don't want that.
Yeah.
I've watched some reviews and stuff. Last year, after I started drinking this beer, 2 years ago, and I've watched some people say, "Oh, there's very little coffee on the nose," and I'm thinking, is this people drinking the same beer that I'm drinking? That's just not possible. And that's all, folks.
Well, I've had that beer, and I can definitely concur with you on the fact that there is coffee, and more coffee on that beer. So I feel you, bro.
How about you, Lola? Do you like coffee for breakfast? Would you go for coffee beers?
I love coffee beers. I love coffee. In fact, when I woke up from my nap, I was very confused, and I thought it was Saturday morning, and I started to go to the Keurig. And I was like, wait, what's wrong? It's like my brain was trying to tell me something, but I wasn't quite getting it. So, yeah, I mean, I love coffee. In fact, I almost made some coffee just a little bit ago.
Jeez, this time of night?
No, I was confused. I took my nap, and when I woke up, I thought it was Saturday morning.
I feel like as a Brazilian, bread is a main thing. We eat bread every morning. It's like, French bread and baguettes and stuff like that. And I think I should have had maybe a double block, which is liquid bread. I think that would be a good breakfast tea. I mean, if you're, on a farmer's side too, like it's a big, heavy double block would be an excellent beer for the.
So Brazilians don't usually go for like coffee in the morning, or
They do coffee, fruits, and bread. Yeah, bread and butter and
Or like
some pate.
It's so
Charles.
funny. What I was gonna say, one of my best friends is Brazilian, and she ordered this huge Cuban bread. We were at a restaurant, this huge Cuban bread, and I was like, "Oh my goodness!" I had like one piece, and Clint had a few pieces. She ate the rest of it. I was like, so now I see where she gets it from.
Charles, are you on beer number 2?
Yeah, I am. Well, the first one
Charles,
obviously
I'm
was...
sorry, Charles, I
Go
have to
ahead.
interrupt you because I love your shirt.
Oh, yeah, the periodic table.
That is pretty cool. What is in the periodic table?
What's
Beer.
I was about to say the same thing.
No, I
It's all
meant like
beer styles.
pipes.
Beer styles, yeah.
Yeah, it's all the different...
BW,
Yep.
RA.
And then on the back, it gives you the, like, basically the answer key. for
Oh,
what
the
each one of
legend,
them is.
yeah.
Yeah, the legend.
Sorry, I interrupted you. I apologize.
No, that's fine. Like I said, for the first one I went for, obviously, is a beer called Breakfast. It's marketed, I guess, to whatever a breakfast beer might be. For the second one, I'm going for a more personal thing. It's not really a breakfast beer, but every morning when I wake up, I usually have a glass of grapefruit juice. It's one of the first things while I'm boiling water to make tea. So, in honor of my grapefruit, I did have to go with my Ballast Point.
Such a good beer.
Why
Yeah,
do you bother with that
grapefruit.
swill, Charles?
I get my grapefruit kick every morning anyway, so this is like the perfect like beer version of it.
Why do you bother with that mediocre beer?
I have a feeling that any style we would pick with breakfast, lunch, dinner, you would somehow have that beer in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is such a great beer. I mean, regular Sculpin is just one of the best IPAs around, and grapefruit Sculpin is just that times 1,000. If you're a grapefruit fan.
I'm not, and I love that beer.
It depends.
But I do love grapefruit. I drink grapefruit juice every morning, so this is perfect complement to it.
It's good grapefruit.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like the really hideous overbred grapefruit.
Oh no.
It's really
Not at
good
all.
grapefruit.
I have.
Where you go, ugh.
I haven't had that beer in eons. So, my question is like, do you get like grapefruit juice / grapefruit flesh, or do you get like grapefruit pith / grapefruit rind?
I don't know. To me, I get more of the fruit itself. That's
Okay.
what I get anyway.
Okay.
And it's tons and tons of grapefruit flavor. I don't know what their description is.
Okay.
It
Cool.
does say India Pale Ale brewed with natural grapefruit flavors, but I don't know what that means.
Means that's concentrated juice, probably.
Could be.
I like
I don't
how
have to use any rind at all in this.
Yeah, I can imagine they squeeze enough grapefruits to do a batch. You have to use some concentrated juice for something like that.
Cool. Well, that said, I'm still on my beer because I'm taking it easy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna take it easy.
You don't.
I mean,
double fisting.
my beer is a
I do.
Mine's a 750, so
Mine too.
and it's not like it's a 750 that I don't want to drink. It's a 750 that I want to actually enjoy. So I ain't gonna rush this bad boy because I know even as this beer warms up more and more, it's gonna open up even more coffee complexity, and I'm gonna savor that bad boy. So.
And mine costs $14, so I'm savoring it.
Well, I think for breakfast some of the other flavors that I would like to try, definitely Mexican chocolate, some chilies.
How do you connect Mexican chocolate with breakfast though?
You've never had
Mexican
Mexican chocolate waffles?
Nope.
Oh.
I guess it's a West Coast thing.
It's from South
beautiful.
Carolina. It's what was that? The waffle chicken and waffles? Is that?
No. You talking about Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles?
Yeah. Is that?
That's in the L.A.
No.
Actually, it's the first real Mexican chocolate I had was actually in coffee, and in hot coffee, and it was fantastic. It actually made me taste real chocolate for the first time. And it's fantastic because it has a range of different flavors. It's not just, it's not just here's the cocoa bean. It's chocolate, it's cinnamon, it's chilies, it's occasionally you can get corn and grain flavors in there. So I'd really like to try some beers with those complex flavors.
Linda, if you can get somebody in Colorado to send you this Mexican stout from Copper Kettle. Is that where it was from, Gil?
You mean that guy right here?
That oh my.
Oh.
Let me Gil, put it back up. I'm gonna blue box you real quick.
Right there.
And this from Copper Kettle, right?
Yeah, Copper Kettle in Denver. I had a flight with 11. I said, just give me everything you guys had on the tap, and I'll say maybe one or two beers I could go without. Most of their beers were excellent.
That beer was amazing, and mind you, we juxtaposed that beer with Westbrook's Mexican cake, and that I love Westbrook. Mexican cake is a legit beer, but that beer wins over Mexican cake.
We had them together in DC, right? Did you have them side by side, or was just one of them?
Well, no, we had one, and then we followed it with the other.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. Nothing against Westbrook. I mean,
their beer is excellent. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, I just so I mentioned the chicken and waffles before, and I'm thinking it's some South food. So I decided to Google it because I was sure it was like Georgia, South Carolina.
Gladys Knights makes chicken and waffles too.
It's from Pennsylvania. It's Pennsylvania Dutch area.
Oh,
it's from the area where I live. That's ridiculous. Okay.
Right down the street from you, Gil. So anyway, yeah, I think that's it for breakfast beers. That's all we got. We tapped out. It's almost time for lunch.
It may be nap time.
And it's time for a lunch beer, man. But
it's lunch. It's almost lunch here.
Yeah. But that's not what we're doing next week. Next week this is our Randling episode number 2.
Yay, experimentation!
My guess is I don't think any of us have an actual real deal authentic from Dogfish Head or Randall. So we all kind of do the bootleg version, which is get you a French press, pour your beer in, put your Randall ingredient in, I guess infuse and press and pour and drink.
Yeah, we almost put
infused
beer.
Doesn't matter what kind of ingredient you use. I mean, does it?
Linda, if you wanna Randall an IPA with New York strip steak, we encourage that.
Hey, let me tell you, last year I have never had either Miller. Yeah, and I have never had Miller before, and so I decided it's going to be the first time, and it's going to be on a Randall show. So I bought tons of hops. I think I put Amarillo and Cascade and something else in there, and it still tastes bad.
Well, I said earlier, if you're going to make a flavored beer, and this applies for anything, make sure that the base beer is good.
Yes.
And you start out with the bad base beer.
That's throwing bad.
It's just going to make it worse.
Right. So that said, thank you for joining us tonight, all 2 of our viewers. I see you. I love you. We love you. We thank you. Be sure to, our 2 viewers, make sure you join us next week as well. When we're doing Randall number 2, we're trying again because we've Randalled before in the past. 3 viewers now. We
It'll
ranted
be 100 by the end of the week. So.
Yeah. we ranted in the past, and we're gonna try to randle again, or maybe we shouldn't technically call it randle. We're gonna infuse flavors into our beer again next week. So that should be interesting, especially to see Linda infuse some wild boar with alt beer. So
pork belly, and oatmeal stout. There you go.
So until next week, episode 173, Randall and Beers. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.